How y'all doing today? Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to speak to you guys for the first time as an Oklahoma Sooner. I understand this is a place that has a ton of great tradition, has a history of having a lot of success in a lot of different areas. I know that for this team this year, what we want to do is we kind of want to create a new standard for ourselves, a standard that kind of consists of having a tenacious mentality, a relentless approach in what we're doing, and really having the will of not being denied. And I'm a firm believer in that, if we continue to kind of practice the same habits, do the same things, we'll 9 times out of 10 end up getting the same results. So I think as an organization, we all want more. We want to achieve more. And the best part about it all is Coach Riley has done an exceptional job this far since I've been here of kind of his leadership and laying law, as they say, setting that foundation of how things should be. And it all comes down to, at the end, I think to achieve more, you got to evaluate yourself. You got to give an honest self-assessment on yourself so you can do the things that you want to do. And I think this team has a vision. It's very early, but we have a vision of what we want to do, what we want to be as a team, the things we want to achieve. So, we're holding everybody accountable to do that. We're working hard day in and day out to achieve those things, and it's definitely a work in progress. But I know also that for this team, we talk about this team this year, a national championship in 2000, however many Heismans there's been over the years, my past success, the things that I've done and achieved, those don't help us win any games in the fall. So I think the biggest thing for us is creating an identity for ourselves, finding out who we are as a team, achieving what we want to do, knowing what we want to do first, putting the work in, and then ultimately, playing ball and getting things done on all phases of the organization this year.
We'll take questions for Jalen. We'll start with Jason Kersey.
Hey, Jalen, you're obviously already a kind of a known commodity in college football with your success and had earned your place at Alabama in that locker room. What was it like to come into another place with a lot of success, that had a lot of historical success, and sort of be the new guy?
Well, the probably most interesting part about all of this, my situation, my experiences, all of those things is, how unique is it? You never get a guy that does those things and I guess not lose that many games and end up in that situation. Then to get an opportunity of a second chance, so to say, and take advantage of it, that doesn't happen that often either. Then you get to go to another top-tier school and, and you're in a situation where you end up replacing, 2 Heisman winners. I mean, you can't look back in history and say that's happened ever. All of it, the whole scenario, whole shebang, and you probably won't be able to say it'll happen again. So I think this whole situation is unique. Everything about it is unique. And for me, I know it's happening to a unique person. I'm not your average Joe. Kind of built for these type of situations. There's never been really anything that's been in my way that I couldn't overcome or see through. So, I'm here and do whatever I can to help this team in any way and achieve the things that we want to achieve as a team.
Jenny Carlson.
Hey, Jalen. You not only have all that you just laid out, but you mentioned the 2 Heisman winners, a couple of guys that could potentially both be the top picks in the draft. The challenge of stepping into one of those guys' shoes would be pretty immense. You're stepping into both. How do you sort of wrap your head around the challenge of all that and the decision to do that?
I think I clearly understood what I got myself into. But I also know that I have expectations for myself. I've always have. I've always been my biggest critic. I've always been, critical of myself. And I'm a coach's kid. I was brought up different, brought up in the field house day in and day out. It wasn't going home. It wasn't doing those things. My daycare, so say, was being a ball boy on the sidelines or going to practice Monday through Thursday and, being on the sidelines on Friday, watching my dad coach and my brother play. But, it's different strokes for different folks. So I'm in this situation, and I definitely want to maximize my time at the University of Oklahoma.
Come here to the left, Darren Emick.
Hi, Jalen. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of when Oklahoma sort of entered your mind, entered the picture, and the process behind you ultimately choosing to play football here?
Like I said, it's been a lot to it. I think the most important thing is that I'm here now, and we're working, and we're taking those steps to be the team we want to be. So.
Okay, Jake Trotter.
Jalen, how would you compare the culture in the locker room between Alabama and Oklahoma so far?
It's always different, you know what I mean? Nothing's ever the same, right? So it's not about, the past. It's not about this or that. It's about what are we going to do with the time we have together as a team? What are we going to do to achieve the things that we want to achieve?
Yeah, Jalen, as a coach's kid, you referenced as a guy who walked into Nick Saban and became his first freshman to start at quarterback. How would you describe your leadership style, and how important is that, especially for the position that you play?
Well, I know as a quarterback, coach's kid, I definitely know that a team, if you have the right leader, if you have the right guy, doing what he's supposed to do, taking care of his business, people let you lead. People let you lead. It's not mandatory of them to do that. They're gonna follow you. So I try and go about my business, and I try and do all the right things I'm supposed to do. I'm far from perfect, but I try and handle my business and stay on top of what I need to do, and hold myself accountable to do those things as a leader, and hold everybody else to that same, standard.
Go to George Schroeder.
Yeah, Jalen, what interested when you're in high school, when you're in Alabama, what did you know of Oklahoma football? What were your impressions?
I remember we played U of H first, right? I remember my first game playing USC, and Oklahoma lost to U of H. So, immediately for me, I don't want that to happen. So, just day by day, night by night, but it's a process, and we just got to work to get where we want to go.
Yeah, I just wondered what you knew of OU, just sort of when you had chosen another school. What were your impressions? Kind of what did you, if you were playing word association about Oklahoma football, what was it?
You hear about offense and all that, so that was definitely a thing, but definitely a prestige program.
Eric Bailey.
Jalen, can you talk a little bit about the relationship you built with Lincoln Riley during the recruiting process and during the 2 months leading up to spring football, and then just how that's continued on in spring drills and dissecting and learning his playbook?
Definitely a quick process, but I think we're on track. I think the biggest thing is building that relationship, because I'm only here for a short time. So me building that relationship with Coach, my peers, my teammates, everybody, and really trying to, take the steps we need to take, move steady, and I mean, I'm a big guy that just at the end of the day, if we execute what we got to do, we're gonna be good. So, becoming comfortable in the system, and kind of getting comfortable in it, I'd say is a very important thing, and ultimately getting comfortable with the new coach. It's my 5th offensive coordinator in my career, so.
During that recruiting process, what did he sell to you about Oklahoma?
I mean, every school has their way of selling stuff. Everybody takes different angles. Everybody takes a different approach. But Coach Riley's been very upfront and honest with everything, and ultimately, we got to go to work. We got to work, and definitely no handouts anywhere. So, just really us being on the same page on those things, and really, trying to push the envelope on getting things done. Moving with urgency.
Jalen, how do you feel like you developed last year through everything that you went to, both on the field and off the field?
I think I'm wiser, I'm better, stronger for it. Everything that took course last year and over the last 3 years. I definitely know that obviously I didn't get the snaps. I had limited time there, but I'm at a new place now, new opportunity, and I think it's a different team on the same mission.
Hey, Jalen, what have been your impressions running this offense so far in practice, and how do you feel like you fit into it? And is there anything maybe about your skill set that you're learning you can show more through it than what you've done in the past?
You always want to take the progressive approach to things. I find myself as a perfectionist. You want to get it done. And sometimes you got to remind yourself. I mean, 2.5 months ago, I was preparing to play in the national championship game. So understanding that we're on pace to be where we want to be, but it's a process to it. It doesn't happen overnight, but we're progressing every day as a unit. Both sides of the ball, all 3 phases. We're doing what we need to do to get where we want to go. So I think we're just putting that constant work in every day, trying to make a big step, make a massive improvement every day, so we can better ourselves.
Have you felt comfortable learning it and running it so far? And how has that part been?
It's going well.
Jalen, you stood up at a basketball game, and all of a sudden there was this massive line of people wanting to take photos with you, have you sign autographs. What did you think of that moment that just kind of came out of nowhere, and then just your thoughts on the way that you've been embraced? It's really kind of rare to be embraced before you've really even stepped on the field.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. I always appreciate anybody who, is a Hurts fan, they say, or just supports me. And I'm at a new place. I'm a new face around here, and it's cool, and it's all love to embrace those guys. I guess I'd say it's definitely nothing new, and like I haven't had to experience those things or deal with those things before, but I definitely appreciate it.
Hey Jalen, you're going from a very talented skill positions at Alabama, guys like Josh Jacobs and Irv and Jerry Jeudy, to a very talented skills positions here with guys like CD and Trey and Kennedy. What stood out to you from practice playing with those guys so far?
I think we gotta understand that everything's a little different. It's different. We got different players, and we all. I firmly believe we all have the ability to do the things that we need to do to get where we want to go and do the things that we want to do. So, you know, it's all about meshing together, I say, as a group, as a unit, offensive unit, and kind of finding that connection between each other, whether it be O-line to quarterback or receiver to running back as far as blocking, or quarterback to receiver. You know, it doesn't matter. We just need to, you know, with time, kind of find out who we are.
Myron Patton.
I'm sure you remember this play. Orange Bowl, you line up at receiver, run a jet sweep. Ken Murray runs you out of bounds, little dust up on the sideline. What was it like when you first now met Kenneth as a teammate, and just the irony that you end up playing with him and at a place that a couple months ago you were competing against? Just your thoughts.
You know, that's what makes all of this so unique. You know, it's fun, and definitely been that. I mean, you know, we've talked about that. It's been something we've kind of laughed about, I say. And rarely do I talk, you know, trash or say something to the opponent. I usually just smile or, you know, do something casual. But, you know, it's cool. And I know what type of players we have here. And most interestingly, I have a unique perspective on it all because kind of been on both sides of it. So it's a dual perspective, and you know, I just want to, I guess, help the team, you know, with the things that I've experienced or whatever, especially my teammates, and try and do what's best for the team and getting where we want to go.
How do you line up? How do you get that leadership when you've just been here for a couple of weeks or whatever it's been, and the quarterback position is a leadership position by nature? I mean, how do you haven't been here for that long? How do you not be overbearing, but at the same time show that leadership?
I think one thing that me and Coach Riley have talked about is, you know, you'd rather be. When I look back on this, on this year, I'd rather say I said too much than said too little.
Carlson?
Well, I'll kind of piggyback on that because you had talked about the new standard for this team. I'm curious about what you feel like your role is, what that looks like, what it sounds like. It sounds like it may be something that you, as a leader, that you've never really done before with teams. Is that accurate?
I said it's a different place. You know, you think about, I guess, coaches, older coach and Coach Saban, a younger coach and Coach Riley, but they're both great, dang good coaches, and they both, you know, kind of want nothing but that standard of play. You know, we have an expectation of doing what we're supposed to do at Oklahoma, and you know, the biggest thing is meshing together as a team, like I said, and you know, holding each other accountable to do those things. So
for you, do you feel like your role, have you started to sense what role you have in doing that with this team? Is it, you know, getting guys together? Is it talking? I mean, what does that look like, sound like for you?
I mean, yes, I'd say so. You know, I can't work my way around that question, so I'd say so. And you know, like I said just now with the young man over there, I'd rather say too much now, emphasis too much, or put an emphasis on too much now, or repeatedly say something, or let's go guys, or, you know, just, I'd rather lead too much, and, you know, Coach Riley wants me to be aggressive with that. So that's the approach that I'm taking with it.
Gary Murdoch?
Jalen, I know you've talked a lot about leadership and building the team, but when you were looking at, you know, transferring and you looked at Oklahoma, how much of it was just looking at this offense, the last two quarterbacks here, and was there any part of you that was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I want to challenge myself to see if I can be that type of quarterback?
Like I said earlier, I think I hold myself, you know, to a high standard. I have expectations for myself, and I'd be I'd be outright wrong to not pick Kyler's brain, pick Baker's brain, to learn as much as I can learn so I can make the most of this situation.
Just physically, I mean, does this challenge you to do things that you haven't been asked to do as a quarterback, as a thrower in the past?
No.
Barry Trammell?
Yeah, Jalen, you hadn't made any decisions before January, and Kyler Murray hadn't made decisions, all kinds of uncertainty. But there was at least a chance that people speculated that he might move on, you might move on, you might be a good fit at Oklahoma. Did that ever go through your mind, and was that whole week of preparation in Miami sort of strange, that you're playing for a team, against a team that conceivably you could be playing for next year?
On the outside looking in, that's very easy to say, I say. With my brothers at the University of Alabama, I was 110% bought into getting after Oklahoma. And that's just kind of how it was. And now I'm here. So now I'm focused on this team, this unit, this organization,
Okay, George Schroeder.
Yeah. In the limited snaps that you talked about that you got last year, and specifically in the fourth quarter of the game against Georgia, you look like a different passer than we'd seen before. And I wondered, have you developed, do you think, your game as a passer, and did that actually happen as a backup last year, just based on sort of the things you guys were doing with Dan Enos and stuff like that?
I think there are a number of variables that kind of go into my development, I think that all of those experiences, I say, that helped me for the better. I guess experiencing that success early, then kind of hitting a little adversity on the run, that made me better. I was able to see things differently, have a different perspective on things, and I think that's kind of led up to me being the person I am standing here before you today. So.
Time for a few more, John Hoover.
Yeah, in a similar vein to that question, you mentioned earlier this will be your 5th offensive coordinators. Correct me if I'm wrong, also 4 quarterback coaches. This will be your 5th during that time. So, point being, did all that, instability or whatever, coaches coming and going, can you describe how that affected your career arc? You said, it made you better, but did it also at times hold you back, like you were on a certain path and then all of a sudden you change coaches again?
You can say that, but, you got to turn those negatives into positive. Let's not think about it negatively. Turn it to a positive and let's say, hey, when the time comes and, I'm in a situation where I'm asked about that, I just say, hey, I've had success with every coordinator I've had or coach I've had. I have multiple perspectives of looking at the game because I've had so many coaches. Use it to help me instead of, hang my head down on it or something like that. I'll use it to help me. So I now see it in a positive light.
Back to
Jalen,
Garen.
Kyler and Baker both came here wanting to win, obviously, but also safe to say wanting to prove something about themselves before they finish their college career. Do you have something to prove here at Oklahoma?
I don't want to get into comparisons. Baker's Baker, Kyler's Kyler, and I'm me. So I think the objective of all of this is, yeah, everybody wants to achieve their goals. Everybody wants to do those things, but right now it's not about me. I'm stepping back from it, and the biggest thing about this thing is achieving what we want as a team, getting what we want accomplished as a team, doing what we want as a team. So I feel like if we can come together and do those things, work hard, build that bond on all phases, the sky's the limit.
Jenny.
Jalen, you mentioned your dad earlier. obviously a huge influence. Are there a couple characteristics you feel like you most took from him? And secondly, is there, when you sort of close your eyes and think about your dad as a coach, is there a memory or two that sort of jump to mind, whether funny or impactful or whatever?
I say both of my parents have kind of had a huge impact on me. You know, just the life lessons, being brought up the way I was brought up, and kind of being in the situation I was, coach's kid, and you know, older brother playing quarterback. Both of my parents being in the education system, just being around it, I think that's all kind of molded me to kind of who I am. And I know the story that, you know, so I went to Channelview High School and we played, I guess, North Shore, and they just won the state title last year. My junior year, you know, we never beat this school. This is a school that I was probably supposed to go to. I was zoned to, but I wouldn't play for Dad. So we played North Shore my junior year, and never beat this team ever. I mean, 10 years. I'm a ball boy watching North Shore get after Channelview, you know. So we play my junior year, and we give them a good fight, and we score on the last play of the game on a Hail Mary. And they just won state off of a Hail Mary, ironically. So we score on a Hail Mary my junior year to beat them, tied it up at 48-48. Then we kicked the extra point with no time on the clock, win the game. And it's a coach, that coach for North Shore, he's a head coach somewhere else now, I don't remember his name. But, you know, he's looking, you know, at my dad, and I'm the extra point holder at the time. So, you know, I hold it, he kicks it, it goes in, I take off running probably 2 steps, and I turn around, and I just kind of look at North Shore sideline. And was just so calm at the moment, like, you know, it was kind of personal, I guess. And then the coach looks at my dad on the sideline, and he's so calm and all that. So the coach is, you know, the coach is like, well, how is this guy so calm? He gets it, I see where he gets it from. So I guess that story kind of sums up, I guess, where my demeanor comes from, why I'm so stoic and kind of nothing's ever too much, ever too big.
Did your dad ever celebrate that one?
Maybe we will in football. When we're done with the game, maybe we will.
Okay, a couple more, Jake. Yeah, you know, coming from Alabama, Jalen, what kind of credibility did that give you as a leader with the guys in the locker room?
You know, it's kind of interesting, and like I said, another unique part about all of this. You know, just having players like, you know, I guess if I were to talk about games that I've played in, or if they were to ask me questions about it, and knowing that they were watching that game, or that they were watching this game on the way back from theirs, or whatever it is, I guess that's a unique part about it. I'm kind of having an idea of some of the things that have been done, or whatever. But like I said earlier, I don't think, you know, the objective here for us as a team is to win games this fall, and I know that none of that stuff will score us any touchdowns in the fall or put points on the board or anything like that. So I really want to hone in on this team this year together, you know, this opportunity we have, and try and take that approach every day and take advantage of that opportunity to get better every day.
And then playing, you know, playing in the spotlight at Alabama, playing in so many big games, how is that going to equip you to face the pressure of playing Texas in the Cotton Bowl, or potentially a playoff game, and then also the pressure, like you mentioned before, you know, following 2 Heisman Trophy winners that could go #1 in back-to-back years in the draft?
I think it all comes down to just handling everything the right way, taking the right approach to it, and, you know, just going about my business that way.
Okay, Kerry.
You saw your video from the spring, during spring breakout on a football field with CD, and Did you know kind of coming in here what he was after seeing him in the Orange Bowl, or did you know that was a relationship that was, going to be like it has been?
Well, man, I was a freshman at Alabama, and I wanted CD to come to Alabama, so it's not like I didn't know who he was, what he was capable of, but the tables have turned, and I'm here, and I guess you can say we kind of reunited, so just trying to maximize this moment this year, everything about it, trying to maximize it.
Okay, last one, Barry.
Yeah, Jalen, the graduate transfer rule's been here for a while, but it's become a lot more popular the last couple of years. How do you look on that rule, and do you look at it as a great opportunity, and what it gives you the chance to do?
I think it's, like I said before, it's different strokes for different folks, different circumstances for different people. With the waivers and all the different things that are a variable in that, it makes it all really, like NFL free agency.
All right, thank you, Jalen.
Thank y'all.
Everybody. Got Tanner Mordecai next.
Listening to Jalen Hurts.